is leading industry training organisations. The next speaker we have is Eileen Free, who is the Head of Commercial Services, and she has a great breadth of experience right across the country and also from a number of industries. I'd like to get it started quickly, so we'll invite Eileen up on stage. For us, as she'll take us through to a lunchtime. Thank you very much. Put your hands together for Eileen Free.
Well, hello, everyone. That is the worst introduction because you've raised everybody's expectations. I lower them. I'm thinking like below sea level. That's probably a good place to start, and then I'll be okay. Well, how are you? I didn't hear that now. Hang on. How are you? Even better? Yeah? Okay, good. That's fantastic. I've been looking forward to today for a couple of months, and my team over there have been slagging me off all morning, so they're going to rip me apart later on, I'm very sure. However, thank you to CCiNZ for asking me to speak today. I have worked in contact centres across the world, which sounds like such an amazing statement. Probably like about 5 across the world, but it sounds big, so that's good. Now, firstly, I come with a bit of a disclaimer. I do swear, so if you are sensitive, and sometimes you think I'm swearing and I'm really not, and then sometimes I am swearing. So if you're sensitive, you probably want to leave now, cover your ears. Although I have to say, in some of the contact centres that I worked in, that's kind of where I learned my swearing, so you know, you could blame them. I also love your involvement, so I am keen to hear from you. And if I ask a question, please don't look at me and go, I want to hear you. So if you don't know who the Skills Organisation are, and some of you put up your hands, which was really great, Chris asked that question. I'm not going to tell you right now. This is not a sales pitch. So you can talk to these guys over here and they can explain who we are. But fundamentally, we're the go-to people when it comes to professional development. And particularly contact centre is one of our bread and butter areas. And we do a lot of contact centre qualifications and you know, beyond in terms of developing your staff as well. Now, you may wonder why I have this image up here. No, it's not me. I know. I wish my face, even just the bottom half, looked like that. But actually, I just love glitter. Has nothing to do with this presentation whatsoever. I just love glitter. And you know, I swear to God, I think it's because I had 2 older brothers and I was such a tomboy. And I even remember like a 6-year-old giving out to my dad, having an argument with him saying, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. And he was like, seriously, lovey, you're not. You will discover this as you get a little bit older and a little bit rounder. You will notice differences between you and your brother. But as I grew up, I discovered I trained to be a makeup artist, and I suddenly unleashed the beast within. You know, when Titch was saying earlier on about unleash the beast? Yeah, this glitter beast came out, and I'm all about the bling. And Nadine from CCiNZ is another woman who loves a bit of bling as well. So she was saying to me earlier on, I can't wait to see you in your bling today. And I said, listen, I have to tone it down because Irish and gypsy, like I can be borderline sometimes. I have to be very careful. Now, in case you think it's just glitter for the women, I'm pressing this. Where am I supposed to be pressing it? It is on. Ah, there we go. It worked. There's also glitter for the men. So it's not sexist. I'm very happy to share. And actually, this gentleman here, you would look amazing with glitter all over you. I tell you, Christmas is coming, people. Get ready. Chris, I expect it from you as well, wherever he's gone. So yes, I've got 2 bearded men, or bearded ladies, depending, in my team, and I'm very much looking forward to the Christmas party to see if they can make this look work. However, what I want to do now is just find out about you, actually. So who here comes from the customer service side of things? Oh, wow. Not many then. Excellent. How about sales? Lovely, okay. Any debt collection? Ah, now, you are my friend. I have worked in debt collection contact centres. In fact, I've been told many times how I'm going to be murdered. It's been quite graphic, particularly when I was collecting debt in England from Ireland. Politically, that wasn't so good. One guy was determined to swim over the ocean to get at me when I was taking his house away. Oh, it was pretty tough, I have to be honest with you. However, my 2 favourite memories in contact centres, and I am this is a swearing one, sorry, but the first one was when I worked for GE Commercial, and I worked for GE Commercial in Dublin, and then I also worked for them again in Auckland, and loved them altogether, but they're very focused on time, and time of everything. And I like to take my own sweet time and do things, but I was at that stage working in debt collection. And so for me, I may not have gone through the same number of calls that other people did, but I had a higher collection rate. Funnily enough, it's how I ended up getting into training, because people were saying to me, you seem to explain to people when they're in debt. And I said, because most of them don't understand that they're in so much trouble. So you have to take time to get them to understand and then to trust you. And then they will pay you more. So it's really interesting when you think about it. However, GE Commercial, very focused on timings, right? One day, team leader says, Eileen, can I have a chat with you? Never could. Never could. And he said, I've noticed that you've been off the phones this morning for 11.2 minutes. 11.2 minutes. Okay, I said, yeah, This is a guy, by the way. And I said, yeah, I had my reasons. And he said, would you like to explain them to me, please? And I said, I was in the toilet. And he said, and would you like to explain what you were doing in the toilet for 11.2 minutes? That was a very interesting conversation, as I was quite detailed. So we didn't work together very long after that. But the other one was actually I worked in Bank of Ireland and I worked in merchant services, so FPOS machines. And so I was in the big credit card centre and you had personal credit cards, etc. But I worked in merchant services. And so I was dealing with retailers phoning in, ordering FPOS machines. There was a team of us of only about 6 or 8, not that many. But this particular day, there was quite a few of them who were either, I don't know, hungover, they were sick, they just weren't there anyway. And I was getting slammed. And the next thing anyway, I just got, my boss sat behind me and I was getting absolutely hammered. And then there was a delay with the FPOS machines and it was just one of those awful days, where you think I just want to go home, just get into my bed and pull the duvet up. And the next thing then, this phone call came in and this guy was really hassling me. And I meant to either say, honestly, I meant to say either, I'm really sorry, but we're totally full or we're completely booked. And instead, I said, I'm so sorry, but we're totally fucked. And he said, yes, you are. So, I'm here to talk about leadership. But the first thing we need to do when we think about leadership is actually decide between the difference between a manager and a leader. So when I think about managers, obviously I'm talking about people who have the technical expertise. They have the level of authority to sign things off. But when I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about a whole different kettle of fish. When we think of leadership and we think of great leaders, we tend to think about people like this. These are amazing leaders that are known globally. They've done great things, and to be honest, most of those things I can only dream about. And so while I love looking at them and they inspire me and motivate me, to be honest with you, I kind of feel a bit hopeless. How the heck am I going to compare to them? I mean, the looks only last so long, accent gets boring after a while, and everything starts to fall apart. And then people expect you to be intelligent. I mean, it's too much. So we've all researched leadership, and we've looked at leadership styles. We know the difference between autocratic, democratic, etc., blah, blah, blah. We have looked at the TED Talks. We know that we're supposed to be inspiring and fabulous. We're supposed to be inspiring, motivational, yet directive and strategic. We're supposed to be business savvy and successful, yet promote you above anyone else. We're supposed to be disciplined, yet agile. Hard-nosed with others, yet soft and approachable with you. We have to be a great communicator, the perfect listener, be funny, be outgoing, yet deep and thoughtful, connected, funny, digitally savvy, fit and healthy, glamorous, have good teeth. God almighty, the list goes on. Oh, and by the way, that's not your full-time job, because who here has got the title of leader? That we're just paid to be a leader? Normally, we have to be a leader as well as. Isn't that right? So you've already got, head of commercial. What does that even mean? I'm head of commercial. What? Could be anything. I'm still making it up. Glitter, I feel, is probably the way to go. And then I have to be a leader on top of it. Holy God. I'm exhausted and overwhelmed just thinking about it. In fact, when I think about all the expectations put on me in my life, it kind of looks a little bit like this one. So I have what my team expect of me as a leader, what my kids expect from me as a mother, what my parents expect of me as a daughter, what my husband would love me to be. Not sure which one that might be. And then there's obviously what I expect of myself. Funnily enough, I was practicing at the weekend while my husband was cooking dinner, and he came over and he said, hang on, stop. Let me have a look at that slide again. And he went, oh yeah, the one with the beer. Yeah, you're right. Damn it. Then I consider some managers that I've worked for, and they're a fine collection of these people. This slide always makes me think of that one, the response of, or the advice for leaders of be yourself. Well, quite frankly, that's what happened here. They were themselves. I mean, if you're yourself and you're just a grumpy, arrogant, lazy pig, well, what kind of leader is that? Nobody needs to see that. I mean, honestly, first thing in the morning, who needs that? It's much more about being selective and choosing the best version of yourself and then being human. So, you know, obviously we joke about be yourselves, but people take that quite literally. If I was myself, you'd have left 5 minutes ago. It's all right to show frustration and disappointment, but the reality is that you need to contain the crazy. So, you know that pair of heels that have the knuckle duster? God, I worked for her. That was insane. She was one crazy bitch. And so, you know, you got to be careful that you are not being that crazy person. You know, you don't have to be the best, but God, don't be the worst. That's just not even trying. The other thing is that you need to be yourself. And what I embraced, and it's funny because I have become renowned for it now, and I'm very proud to be renowned for it, is that I love glitter. God, I can't tell you. It brings me to a happy place. So for me, I actually introduce it into everything. And in fact, I do have pots of edible glitter. And my husband is very used to spaghetti bolognese covered in blue glitter. And, you know, I just think it makes everything better. And we all laugh, you know. And the thing is that for me, when I talk about glitter, it makes people laugh. Laughter is an indication of a good team. You know, if you're stressed, as soon as you laugh, it breaks the ice. If you're nervous, as soon as you laugh, you feel better. It's a release mechanism. For me, glitter, aside from the fact that it makes me feel so happy, is also a way to make people laugh. Unless, of course, it's my CEO. Apparently he doesn't like glitter, and I must keep remembering that. He doesn't like glitter. But it does break down boundaries. And when it comes to leadership and practice, there's no one set style that works. The reality is that we wear lots of different hats. You have to find your style that works for you and watch how other people react to it. If I think particularly of one role that I took, so I've been here 14 years. I live in Wellington. I was in Auckland for 8 years. And I moved down to Wellington for a particular role that I didn't want. Now, why in God's name would a woman take a job she didn't want? Well, I knew I didn't want it, but I knew I needed it. That in order to be a really good leader, I had to go through the pain of a really difficult job. And I went down to Wellington as a change manager. I was given the directive to go down. I went and managed a company that had 200 service departments, so ranging from 3-star to 5-star hotels. I come from a hospitality background. And I went down as the person who was going to restructure. You know, I was going to exorcise the demons and reset up everything. The challenge was that everybody knew me because I'd already worked with them. So it was really difficult because I had to be very clear about their expectations and my mission. During that 2 years, I have never felt so stressed. It naturally had an impact on my personal life, and glitter did help, I will say that, and vodka. But it was something that you had to break through that. And what I learned was that at the end of the day, I had to exorcise a bully. You know, there was a manager who'd been down there for years, and she was such a bully, and she had instilled such fear that the staff wouldn't talk to me about anything for 10 months. Even though I was consistency, so every day I had to come in and be consistent about my approach and try and connect with people and get on with them and everything like that. It took me 10 months to get evidence on her. And then when I got the evidence, to find out that somebody had been throwing things at the staff like plates, hit someone over the head with a frying pan, berating them, threatening them, it was horrific. Once I managed to, get some dirt, I found a lot more. And what I realized, that was only the beginning. But when I realized, and after I left, and it had totally changed, and some people stayed and some people left, and it was fantastic for them, but it was very tough for me. And what I learned through that was that throughout leadership in practice, you got to change all the time. There's lots of different hats. You need resilience and grit, and glitter does help you get through, of course. Friendship is important in the workplace, but it comes second, particularly when you're there as a change agent. And we all know we've had those difficult conversations where you've been friendly with somebody and then you have to have the word with them because it's just not appropriate to run through the office naked every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And also, more importantly, is that culture comes from the top. So you're setting the scene. So whether that scene is good or bad is up to you. So, quick activity. What I'd like you to do, you don't have to write it down, you can think about it in your head, or if you like to write, you can do this. I'd like you to think of 2 of your leaders that you've had over the years. One that was really crap, like really crap. And even crap can just be average crap, right? What is the one word when you think of them that you think, what is the one word about how they made you feel? Don't have to call it out, just keep it in your head. Well, one word that would define how they made you feel. The second is somebody who's really fantastic. The best leader you've ever had, whether it's in work or in personal life. What's the one word that explains how they made you feel? If you're looking for feedback on yourself, I haven't asked my team this, but I've been watching them from afar, is that if you want to know what they think of you, because they never tell you, they never do, is, unless of course they've had a lot of alcohol, then they'll tell you. But if you think about when you call them and they see your name coming up on their mobile phone, what's their reaction? That's why they're laughing, because they know. I'd like you to consider that when you're with your team. When you ring them or when they see you walking over, what is their reaction? What are they feeling? I'm going to show you a quick video clip, and I'd like you to consider that when you're watching. It's a little bit long, so bear with me. But, how do you look at this from a leadership perspective?
Right. Roll three. Let's go. Horse, you got 100 pounds on Collis and you can't keep him out of our backfield? Hold your block until the whistle blows. Hold it. All right, let's go.
What's with the camera? Michael always does better when he sees what he's supposed to be doing.
Holding. Left tackle.
Michael, come on.
Or. Come here, son. You're gonna hold him. Hold him inside here between the tits. You got it? Will you look at me, son? If you grab him outside here like this or with that horse collar thing you just did, you're gonna get flagged and I'm gonna be pissed. You hear me? All right, let's go.
Baby, wash my stuff, all right?
Okay.
Well, at least they look good coming off the bus. They'll be terrified till they realize he's a marshmallow. Looks like Tarzan plays like Jane.
Give me a minute, Bert.
We're in the middle of practice, Leanne.
You can thank me later. Michael, do you remember when we first met and we went to that horrible part of town to buy you those dreadful clothes? And I was a little bit scared and you told me not to worry about it because you had my back. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
And if anyone tried to get to me, you would have stopped them, right? And when you and SJ were in that car wreck, what did you do to the airbag?
Stopped it?
You stopped it. You stopped it. This team is your family, Michael. You have to protect them from those guys, okay? Listen. Okay. Tony here's your quarterback, all right? You protect his blind side. When you look at him, you think of me, how you have my back, how you have his, okay? All right, Tony, go back. All right. Oompa Loompa here is your tailback. When you look at him, you think of SJ and how you'd never let anyone or anything hurt him. You understand me? All right. Go back. Got it?
What about Collins and Mr. Tui?
Fine. They can be on the team, too. Are you going to protect the family, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Good boy. Then go have some fun. Yelling at him doesn't work, Bert. Doesn't trust men. In his experience, they pretend to care about you till they disappear.
Want to run a play?
SJ, you're gonna want to get this.
Okay.
Come on, Michael. All right, Michael, come on. Woo! Yes! Michael!
All right, way to go, O. Way to go.
That boy.
Hey, get up here. Let's go.
Okay. What'd you say to him?
You should get to know your players, Bert. He tested 98% in protective instincts. I said you could thank me later. It's later, Bert.
Isn't that great? To me, that video clip demonstrates the key to leadership. You need to know your people. You need to know who you're dealing with. And you adapt your style. Every player within the team is different. So they're motivated differently. And obviously, Titch was talking about that this morning as well. You have to find out what's going on inside their head and in their life, and then adapt accordingly. Doesn't mean you have to be a counsellor, but the reality is that you do need to be aware of what's in the room, what's in the team, and how to use everybody's strengths. The other thing that I've really kind of filtered down all the leadership stuff for me personally, and I've worked on 3 key areas that I think work beautifully. The first one is focus. You need to give your team clarity about what you're trying to achieve. Focus, whether it's every day, every minute, but just something simple, you know, don't give them 10 things to focus on, for God's sake. Give them 1 to 3 maximum, but clear focus. Don't confuse it. The next thing you need to do is enable the team. Give them the information, not just the empowerment. You actually need to give them the knowledge or the tools to do their job. A barista can't make good coffee if the coffee machine's totally buggered. So the reality is that you need to enable your team. What's holding them back? Are you just too busy all the time and they're waiting for you to give them that information? You got to change it around and let them be able to lead the way. The third thing is that you need to care. You need to give a crap. You know, when somebody leaves your team, you care. It hurts, and it should hurt. If you're joyous, what the hell are they doing in your team anyway? They need to be people that you respect and that you work together. So you do need to care about what's going on and be patient, of course. So the 3 key things, focus, enable, and care, funnily enough, so you can see why this acronym works really well for me. And I would encourage you all to be great fecking managers. Go out there and be great fecking leaders. Focus, enable, and care. The last video clip, to be honest with you, it's a bit like the glitter thing, has nothing to do with this at all. But I cannot stop laughing. And I don't know whether I come from a sales background or I just like monkeys. I just don't know. I can't stop laughing at it. So I had to share it with you.
Guys, just thought you might want to know, sales aren't up, they're down.
Can you see why I shared it with you? It's just brilliant. I have worked with so many people, in fact, I probably still am, who are quite like that. So look, at the end of the day, I think, yes, you have to be normal. Let's not be, thinking about all these global leaders. But have fun, have laughter. And at least, I love this one about be deranged. They will make you their leader. It probably explains a lot about my life. It's been lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, on Slido, what do you think it takes for contact centre managers to be senior executive leaders?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Stage is yours.
I didn't expect any questions. What does it take?
Yeah, only reading what I got.
That's okay. No, that's all right. I'm trying to give you an honest answer. What does it take? And I want to give you an honest answer because I've been asked, and I have asked that question in the past. For me, there has been no clear line. There has been no vertical progression. Everybody presents it that way. It hasn't been that way at all. In fact, I've kind of fallen into situations, and I've been very, very lucky that I've had a lot of people put things in front of me that just honestly interested me. What makes, I think, a big difference between a team leader and a senior exec, obviously, is determination, but it's people, it's bringing people with you. The second you become arrogant, the second you become narcissistic, or any of those people that I talked about earlier on, you've lost. Because actually, you're only a leader because of the people that you work with. And they're the ones that raise you, And sometimes you're in those positions going, I haven't got a fecking clue what I'm doing. And then you realize nobody has a clue what they're doing at that level. The CEO especially doesn't have a clue what he's doing. So it's just that we all fake it really, really well, and we learn how to delegate brilliantly. So I think it's actually about your connection, and one of the things that I talk about a lot in relation to leadership is relationship management, which is why I've gone from sales to operations to debt collection. For God's sake, some of my best friends were people I was collecting money from. How mad is that? But it's really just making sure that you are obviously getting to know the senior managers, that you're out there chatting to them, and you're not afraid to put your hand up. But there isn't one key thing.
Another couple of questions. How do you get to be known internationally in your field?
Oh, I'm still trying to figure that one out. You just keep moving countries. Honestly, and then you make it up. I mean, if you go and Google me, you'll find out I have no idea what I'm doing. And international is a very broad term, so I've been to a few countries. That makes it international.
And your advice for providing feedback to someone whose sense of their own ability significantly outstrips reality?
I am not the best person to ask for that because I'm so direct. And actually, on an honest level, is that you need to give that person who is receiving the feedback the highest respect by being incredibly direct. And what I mean by that is I had somebody who was exactly in that situation. Now, I wasn't their employer, I was their mentor at that stage, so I was training people to go back from the benefit into the workplace. There was lots of issues. And there was this guy who was in one of my courses. God, I don't know how he hasn't killed me since, I don't know. But anyway, he was a tiny little guy, and he wore clothes that were far too big for him, and he had an attitude that was bigger than this place. And one day I thought, I've had enough, right? I said, Tim, you and I need to have a little chat. And he said, right, what is it? I said, listen, when I look at you, what I see is somebody who is genuine, intelligent, warm. You have all the characteristics of somebody who's going to go really far. But my God, you are an asshole. And he was totally taken aback. And I said, that's the worst thing. I said, if you're an asshole inside, then I wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd just be gone. I said, what's worse is that you're such a good guy, but for a whole lot of reasons, you're portraying this whole persona, and it's not suiting you. And in fact, it's putting people off. Actually, what you need to do is to bring out your inner self, and you're a gentleman. Do you know, he looked at me for about 3 minutes, and he went, thank you. Nobody has ever made it that clear. From that second, he opened the door. He behaved like the best gentleman ever. Opened the door. Everybody in the group was saying, what's happened to him? Do you know the best thing? 3 months later, after he'd got a job in Sky City, 3 months later, I get a phone call from this woman saying, are you Eileen Oliver Free? And I said, yes. And were you the trainer and mentor for Tim? I said, yes, I was. They said, he'd like you to come to an event this Friday that we're holding. I said, really? Yes. I think it's really important that you're there. Sure. So I turned up not knowing, thinking, okay, whatever. He was being given Employee of the Month, and he wanted to make sure that I was front and center. And I said, that's how you do it, Tim. You stick it to me. It's karma. So I was so proud of him, but I love the fact that he was like, she has got to be there. Oh, good. Thank you.